Okay, chit-chat? Okay.
I love it when guests bring me presents. Cynthia Holmes is the president of Benefactours. Benefactours, it's a play on words, which is an organization, a travel company, which helps send people to Africa, not just to check out the countries in Africa and to go on safaris, but to volunteer as well. And
That's
she
right.
has come into the studio, brought me this lovely necklace. Just before we get into it, this is a really cool necklace, I have to say.
It's from Uganda, and it's made from strips of paper from magazines. And so the locals painstakingly cut little strips of paper, roll them up, and make these little individual beads, and then dip them in lacquer.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. And I know that you've spent a great deal of time in Africa, and it was sort of the time you spent there that prompted you to start your travel company. Tell us how it all began for you.
Well, I always wanted to do volunteer work in Africa. It was my lifelong dream. And I found it was quite difficult to find a place that would actually allow me to work for them where I did not have to pay $5,000 for 1 week. Mm-hmm. So I did find an organization, and I spent 5 months volunteering in a village in Uganda.
Wow, 5 months.
Working in a preschool, and it was an amazing experience. It was the best experience of my life, really. And so then a year or two later, I decided, you know, I would like to help other people to do this, because I know it's difficult to find that.
I've looked into it myself, and it is very expensive. I mean, I'm sure it's definitely worth the money, no matter what you're paying, just because of what you get out of it personally and what you give back to the villages where you're working.
Right.
But it is really expensive. So how do you manage to keep the costs lower than that?
Well, I've got some really great local contacts, and I affiliate myself with organizations that are needy. I'm not associated with any particular religion or big groups, big, well-known volunteer organizations.
Right.
So, for $800, you can have a 2-week volunteer package that includes your airport transfers, accommodations, some or all meals, and a donation to the charity.
So what kind of volunteering is done?
Well, most people work either in an orphanage or helping to build schools. So at the orphanage, you could do any number of things. You could play with the kids, help feed them, help bathe them, which can be really an exhausting job. You can even clean or do gardening there as well, and help the kids with homework.
These are some of the photos, and look at these faces.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're absolutely
that's
gorgeous.
the great thing about kids around the world, and no matter what kind of circumstances they're in, I think they just have this way of having these heart-capturing smiles about them. So these are some of the photos that you've taken and some of your clients have taken, is that right?
That's right.
On some of these trips.
Yep.
What countries do you focus on?
East Africa, so Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda. And yes, I find that people there are so appreciative of the work that you do. When I volunteered, I worked at a preschool, and I was thanked profusely every day. And once a week, the headmistress would say to me, Cynthia, thank you for loving us. Oh. I mean, they're just so sweet and appreciative, and they remember people forever, it seems.
Well, that's the thing. I know that we, as volunteers, would obviously get a lot out of the experience. How do they view us? I mean, how do they view the volunteers? Do they really? Are we making an impact as volunteers?
Absolutely, we're making an impact. There is such a need in Africa. There are 14 million orphans, and every little bit of effort helps. Even kids, we have families who go there and volunteer, and they take all their kids. And if you can hold a paintbrush, then you can help. And they will remember you forever, and you'll have friends for the rest of your life.
What do some of your clients say about the experience when they come back?
Oh, they're so grateful. They just think it was amazing and stunning. And the people there, the locals, do remember them and ask about them. And a lot of them say, I'm going back. I'm going to go back again because I'll never forget this experience.
All right.
They love it.
Oh, good. All right. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for the lovely necklace. I can't wait to model it. If you would like more information about Cynthia's travel company, it's benefactours.com. Benefactours.com. Thank you so much for coming in, Cynthia.
Thank you, Sophie.